Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cultivation with yours truly. My name is Cassie McClure. I'm a psychic medium based out of Colorado, and today I have a monthly recap for you. This one is for December of 2019, the end of the year, the end of the decade, all of that good stuff. In these little monthly recaps, I like to go over the astrology that happened over the past month, and then go into some of the energies that I was noticing, and some personal stuff that's going on with me, and then I like to give a little bit of a playlist or music recommendation for the end. And this is a special episode because basically for December, when it comes to music, I just compiled all of my favorites from 2019, which is a thing that I do every December. It's one of my favorite things to do because I'm super into music, super synesthetic, so I can see it, feel it. It brings me to a place. It's like being in a movie. And so I'm very excited because there's been just like a lot of really good stuff that's come out this year. But let's get started so I don't talk too much. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll start with the astrology. So this month, the big thing that happened was Jupiter went into Capricorn from Sagittarius. This happened on the 2nd. Jupiter moves into a different sign basically once a year. It takes about a year for him to move through the sign that he's in. So he's been in Sagittarius for all of 2019, essentially blessing us, kissing us with gifts just for the sake of it, kind of allowing us to expand and have really good luck just because. Now that Jupiter is in Capricorn, Capricorn's a lot more, the word stifling comes up, which I don't want to talk too much crap about Capricorns because I'm a pretty Capricorn dominant person. Self-deprecating, as you can tell, that's like kind of a Cap thing. But Jupiter in Capricorn is kind of like now boxed in. This really big, buoyant giver of gifts and expansion is now kind of just like in this box of structure and obligation, and instead of just kind of getting luck for luck's sake, we have to actually put in the hard work, that Capricorn work ethic, if we want to get those kind of new expansions that Jupiter wants to bring us within Capricorn. Then we had Mercury clearing its shadow on the 7th, so this ended the big, long, hairy retrograde period that started back in like October, and then Mercury went into Sagittarius from Scorpio, where it was doing its whole retrograde thing. So, Mercury is how we think, how we communicate. So our mind was kind of in this muck and mire for a long time, pretty much 2 months, and then it went into Sagittarius. So we had this nice relief where the ways in which we were thinking and communicating started to become a little bit more light. Jupiter and Sagittarius have the same energy, so what I was talking about with that beautiful luck and expansion that Jupiter brings, that was brought into our thinking and our communication. Although today Mercury went from Sagittarius into Capricorn, so now we have this beautiful bunch of planets just chilling around Capricorn. So now, as of today, the 28th, which is when this is being filmed, Mercury is now in Capricorn. So the way in which we're thinking and communicating is a lot more about business, hard work, discipline, getting things done, the logistics that it takes to get things done, being really serious about things, being serious about change, really, which that's kind of a different energy I'll get into in a second, that kind of change energy. But yeah, we're kind of becoming more serious. Then we had our full moon in Gemini on the 12th. This is also when Chiron, which is the wounded healer, turned direct. So with Chiron being in retrograde, we were not healing ourselves as much as we would have maybe liked. And with him going direct, we kind of started to finally take forward steps in the continual healing process of ourselves that we've been working on, because Chiron is direct in Aries, which is the sign of self. So yeah, the full moon in Gemini with that Chiron direct, it was kind of about not letting your thoughts get the best of you, not trying to intellectualize your emotions, just trying to really sink into the heart space rather than have the monkey mind. Also focus on self-healing, of course, with that Chiron. Then on the 20th, we had Venus going into Aquarius from Capricorn. So before, Venus in Capricorn is kind of just, valuing business, money, discipline, hard work, things like that, being kind of classic or classy. And then Venus in Aquarius is this iridescent, kind of woo-woo community, valuing the community, valuing things that are a little bit weird, a little bit out there, maybe being curious about those types of things. So that's kind of that Venus bringing value into, or our sense of value being kind of colored by this Aquarian energy of sudden insight and kind of letting your freak flag fly. Then we had the sun go into Capricorn from Sagittarius. So for the past month, mostly, the sun had been in Sagittarius, which is that Jupiterian energy of expansion, of light, of travel, growth, higher knowledge, learning, religion. I mean, if you think all of the, not all of them, but a lot of the major religious holidays kind of fall in December. We're bringing the light back. We're trying to bring the light in the darkness. That's a lot about Sagittarius. But then the sun went into Capricorn, which again, hard work, seriousness, discipline, putting structures to things. A lot of us are now thinking about, now that the holiday season is wrapping up, we're thinking about New Year's resolutions. We're thinking about ways in which we're actually going to change the structures in our lives. Then we had a new moon in Capricorn on the 26th, or 25th, depending. It was like super late at night on the 25th and then early in the morning on the 26th, depending on your time zone. This new moon was also a solar eclipse in Capricorn. So having an eclipse means that the moon, the lunation that's happening is just really supercharged, and it's bringing a lot to light. So depending on where this was happening, where you have Capricorn in your chart, where your planets are, what house your Capricorn is in, if you have Capricorn in a house, that's important to know, because this sucker, this is one of, I believe it's the 5th in a series of eclipses that we've been having on the nodes of fate. The nodes of fate, that just means where the eclipses are happening. Right now, the nodes of fate are in Cancer and Capricorn. North node is in Cancer, nurturing, finding ways to nurture ourselves and finding ways to nurture our dream, really focusing around home, family, things like that. South node has been in Capricorn, which is asking us to release any structures that don't serve us, any traditions that don't serve us, anything that is stuffy and old and just isn't working and quite honestly, maybe even crumbling around us. We're really being asked to just let that go, and we've been asked to let that go since, I guess the series started happening in July of 2018, but that was a Cancer lunation, so I don't want to necessarily say, I think that was just giving us a taste back in July of 2018, but then that kind of really started after that. So I think the first major one we had was January 5th of this year, of 2019, I think was our first Capricorn situation. So yeah, just asking us to look at the structures within our lives that have been there forever, for the past 27, 29, more than that years. We're being asked to look and to release. So yeah, really just kind of doing more on that. I mean, we've all been doing it, so this is not a new story. You probably know what it means for you. This one was pretty intense for me personally because I have a lot of stuff in Capricorn, and this happened at 4 degrees of Cap, which my sun is 5 degrees of Cap, so it was almost on top of my sun. My birthday was yesterday, the 27th. I am now 25, which is very cool and a little bit bizarre to me, but I'm still here and still kicking, still growing. And so that was kind of on my ego, on my sun. And then I also have my 12th house in Capricorn, which I like to think of the 12th house as like the mental health house, or the things that are hidden or unknown. It's kind of nebulous. And so it's been really kind of nipping at me in a lot of ways, which is great. I hope that I'm just learning what I'm supposed to be learning from it, because that's all life is beautiful lessons for us to keep growing and learning from if we so choose. So yeah, and then like I said, today, the 28th, Mercury going into Capricorn. Already explained that, so I'll get into a little bit of the energy for this month. I was feeling like it started off pretty nice. Like there felt like there was a looming sense of something that was going to happen, almost like a sense of impending doom, but with all the Sagittarius energy. There was this buoyancy to it, or a feeling of lightness, and I always get pretty much the same message from my grandfather, who's one of my guides. He always says, let yourself enjoy things. Just allow yourself a little bit of joy. And so with the Sagittarius season, I was personally trying to allow that. And I think a lot of people were trying to get into the holiday spirit, but I think just because there is so much going on for everyone, it was kind of hard to really like get in it, because we have this big looming, not only did we have this big eclipse, but next month on the 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone, or maybe it's just the 12th. I know it's the 12th for mountain time zone in the United States. I should probably know the other ones, but on the 12th, we have a huge astrological event. We have the Saturn Pluto conjunction, which I think this happens, it doesn't happen very often, like 200 years or something. I think it's ending like a 200-year cycle. And the last time that they were actually conjunct, with having both of them in Capricorn, because Saturn is in Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn, having them both there, the last time that happened was I want to say 1511, when Martin Luther went up and was like, hey, I'm not doing Catholicism anymore, and the church split. So it's also coming up on it's hitting the states in a really big way too. So just paying attention to politics and stuff like that, which I like to do anyway, you might start to see those structures begin to fall or break. The structure of our country, the country that we have built, that cycle, 200 and so years kind of ending. But newness is coming, which is cool. But yeah, so we've had this kind of looming pressure of knowing things are going to end, knowing things are going to change, and feeling a little bit maybe fearful of that, maybe excited for that in a weird way, maybe anxious for that, maybe sad about that. Just kind of this in the background. And then once things started kind of falling into Capricorn, I sensed this feeling of it being a lot more real. Things are kind of getting real. And so, for example, some of the personal stuff that's been going on with me, my family sold my childhood home this month, about mid-month. So I was spending a lot of time over there, helping them clean the place out, helping them get everything ready, saying my goodbyes to the place that I had called home since I was 7. So that was very difficult for me. And then I guess, they're like moving to a different state pretty soon. That's going to happen next month, kind of like around the big conjunction. I want to say the Big Bang. It's not that, but the big conjunction. So that's interesting. I had my birthday yesterday. I had a really, really good birthday. I am a really existential person regardless, but it's usually way worse on my birthday, and yesterday I was able to keep the existentialism pretty down, and I was feeling great. I also had the Jupiter and Sun conjunction yesterday on my natal sun, so that's that beautiful benefic Jupiter kind of giving me a kiss and being like, for the next solar year, you're going to have this nice little magical thing, like, kind of just floating energetically, which is cool. Today, I feel like super weird and just very under all of that Capricornian pressure. But I think that's a part of my own personal cycle and my own personal growth right now. Really digging deep with the mental health stuff, really trying to figure that out, really trying to embrace the change. Really trying to surrender to the struggle, or I guess it doesn't have to be a struggle, but because then it isn't. If you surrender to the struggle, then there is no struggle anymore, because you're just floating into it. So that reminds me, Ram Dass, rest in peace. He just passed. He's my favorite. He's my favorite spiritual teacher guy, person, human, I guess now spirit, one of my faves. And he has a quote about, instead of loving yourself, it's about allowing yourself. Because when you try to love yourself, it's kind of like, there's something that I have to do, there's something that I have to love, and you're trying and you're pushing. But when you just kind of allow yourself, and then you're able to just kind of as neutrally as possible be aware of that, then that's kind of when that's kind of self-love. That's when self-love happens, is when you just allow yourself to just be what you are, which maybe is a messy human being moving through a really messy time in history, in their life. You know, these are big times. So we're all being asked to step up in a lot of ways, and that can be difficult. So let me get into music for 2019. This is like my favorite part. This year has been a really good year for music, I think. I'm just gonna name all of my favorite albums and who they're by. I might talk a little bit about them, but I don't want to get too carried away, because that will happen. So we had Ma by Devendra Banhart. Maybe I don't want to pick a favorite. It's really hard to pick favorites, but this album is amazing. I just got it for myself on vinyl. It's like the first vinyl I have purchased for myself in over 2 years, so it's kind of a treat. It's kind of a little gift to myself. Really love that album dearly. House of Sugar by Alex G. I love Alex G. Alex G is like my dude. He's been my dude for a very long time. And everything he puts out, I just, like, even if I don't necessarily like it a lot at first, I just, like, listen to it a lot because I trust him as an artist, and I know eventually I will end up liking it. And I had to do that with some of this album, but I actually really like this album, and it was such a treat to get a new album from him this year. This has been the maybe most difficult and transformational year of my life, so the soundtrack is, like, very important to me. We have Heavy Lifter by Howdy, a band that I love so dearly. I want everybody else to love them as much as I do, and not that many people know about them yet, but everybody should go listen to them because they're very cool. They're from Austin, Texas, kind of lo-fi music, which is most of what I listen to. Heavy Lifter is just great. It gets me so deeply in my heart. It makes me feel nostalgic for memories, places, people, times that I myself haven't actually experienced, but I'm almost able to like bring in the energy of the artists, or put myself in that place, and it's very visceral for me. If some songs actually have a hard time listening to already, because they're so visceral for me. We have Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey. I love Lana so much. She's one of my favorites of all time. I was very happy to get an album from her this year. This album came out at a pretty interesting time for me. I am trying to make some new memories around it, but I loved it. I think it's her, I honestly think it's her best album yet, and if anybody wants to fight me about that, I'm open to that. So love it so much. I think it's classic and beautiful, and I love it. Thank You Next came out this year, Ariana Grande. Like, let's not forget that Thank You Next came out. 'Cause I Love You by Lizzo, like, that's a really important album. That was, like, my breakup album. Really got me through some mildly difficult times. I mean, honestly, most of my difficult times this year have been, like, from myself and not coming from other people, but, you know, breakups are still hard anyway. Which actually, like, all of the pain I was experiencing there was still just myself. So I guess it's always just us. Then let's see what else we had. So Divine by Horse Jumper of Love. This is a band I just discovered this year. They came onto my Spotify recommended, and I am so glad. It's very rare that I find a new band that that instantly kind of becomes a favorite, and Horse Jumper of Love did that for me. I was coming off of my antidepressants and just feeling completely rock bottom, and just listening to that album kind of gave me like an anchor into reality. So that's really important. Love that album a lot. Jinx by Crumb, good album. I love Crumb so much. Crumb and Men I Trust are both like jazzy, great, female fronted, like awesome. I don't even know how to describe it. I love both of those bands so much. Crumb came out with Jinx, and I was listening to that a lot this year. Men I Trust came out with Uncle Jazz, which is like some baby making music, baby making medley. Love that a lot. I was listening to a lot of Forever and Ever by Sales. That didn't come out this year, but I was listening to that album a lot. I love it. High by Royal Headache. I was listening to a lot of super fun, like, punk rocky, I think they're Australian, punk rocky Australian music. Season by Dead Sullivan, like, that's extra lo-fi. You have to be, like, pretty down the lo-fi hole to really enjoy that one, but I am, and so I love it. Billie Eilish, obviously, When We All Fall Asleep, Where'd We Go? I did a video on that, about the astral plane. That was a cool thing. And also a good album. Pony by Orville Peck. I can't remember if that actually came out this year or not, but that album is fucking awesome. It is like, you could call it creepy country, but I'm very into it, and I'm like becoming more into country because of this guy. He is a crooner. He's a true crooner, but also like a huge badass. Like, love him a lot. Orville Peck. Close It Quietly by Frankie Cosmos. Really long album, but still very good. I didn't give it enough time on the first go around. I wish I would have. It's super awesome. I like it a lot. I love Frankie Cosmos. I feel like if I had a soundtrack to my life, or just my general kind of like vibration, it would be a lot like that. Just kind of like goofy and honest, and crying a lot, things like that. Past Cloaks by Chester Watson. I got into that album this year. Rap album that's really, really good. Very poetic. What was the other one? Wait, no, is it not Chester? It might not be Chester Watson. It might actually be Milo who has Past Cloaks. Wow, this is embarrassing. I should know my music more. I love hip-hop a lot, but I'm obviously not like a hip-hop head. That's gonna frustrate me. I think it's Chester Watson, but it might be Milo. I also was listening to a lot of Milo this year, so either way, look up both of those guys. And then, let's see, Emily Alone by Florist. It was really good. It's a good album to listen to when you're really, really lonely and trying to find the beauty in it, and, it's got a lot of nature themes. At the Party with My Brown Friends by Black Belt Eagle Scout. Black Belt Eagle Scout was another band that I found this year that I'm just like really, really, really in love with. When I saw them live, the first time I heard them, and then also when I saw them live, it just, the tears, like, That's how you know something's really good, when you just start to cry when you hear it. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Lost Memory by Coma Cinema. That definitely did not come out this year, but that was a kind of a thick album for my thick summer depression that I was moving through. And then yeah, Field Medic, Fade Into the Dawn, Songs from the Sunroom, pretty much all of Field Medic's discography. Super folky. It's like alternative folk music. I think it's super cute and beautiful, and like a lot of his songs are just bops. So yeah, love Field Medic a lot. And then I think that's it. I want to say that that's it. Yeah, this video is again way longer than I planned it to be, but yeah, that's what's up. That was December 2019. Holy shit. We made it. We're done. On to the next. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me this year. I really appreciate it. It's been cool. It's been fun, and yeah, here's to many more. Have an awesome new year. I'll be at you soon with a January astrology update, and hopefully another video that's not just on astrology but on more psychic stuff, because I don't do as many of those as I would like to. But yeah, see you guys later. Take care.